Hello, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well, fine, fantastic, and dandy. I hope everybody's doing good out there. It was my intention to not drive and do this because I know everybody hates that. But I wanted to I'm sitting in traffic right now, so and by the time I get to my destination, I was going to do it in the parking lot there, but it's not going to work out. And people wonder I want to move out the way. Fire trucks and ambulances going on, sitting in traffic, all kind of craziness. And it's usually because somebody got to an accident. Speaking from a man who's had 24 years of law enforcement experience, this time in the morning, when fire trucks and all this are rolling out, it's usually in the ambulances, it's usually because somebody got into an accident, because they were late, whatever. All right, so listen, if you enjoy this content, please make sure that you hit that like button, hit the sub button. You can email me if there's a particular topic you want to discuss, video you want me to review. If it's a long video, please make sure you put a timestamp in, because a lot of times I don't want to just sit there and just watch 2 hours or whatever just to do whatever. So, all right, so let's get into it. So I do recaps of my own stuff, right? By recaps I mean I watch a video that we did. So I rewatched the video of the live that we did on September 22nd, which was a good show, good live, good back and forth and all that kind of stuff. But I want to talk about, just this idea, this definition of insanity, and I'll put up on the screen, even though it's attributed to Albert Einstein. There's no actual proof that he actually said it, but it's a good idea that, if you continue to do the same things over and over again, you're going to get the same results. And so if you really understand that principle, then you got to understand it. So we were having a discussion about standing by, in particular, black men, standing by your man, in particular, black men, women standing by them in all this. And there was this attitude like, no, some people on the panel were like, no, I don't want to stand by him, right? You guys do it yourself, and we'll see at the finish line. Essentially, that was the thought process. But then we compared that to what quote unquote other races of women were doing who were snatching up black men. So if you have an issue with black men in particular in college, dating, marrying, especially the athletes and all that kind of stuff, or Hispanic women, those two groups in particular, if you have an issue with them dating and marrying black men who are on the come up, on the rise, and this is not just for those types of men, but IT guys getting their MBAs, guys in law school and all this kind of stuff. If you have an issue with that, then it seems to me the smart thing to do would be to figure out what they're doing and then do that. That would be the smart thing to me to do. So as I'm watching the recap, I'm like, man, this is really kind of coming to me like, this is a crazy conversation. These girls are allegedly doing homework for these dudes, and I'm like, and I said on the show that why don't you do that? Why, if they're doing the homework, why don't you do that? Well, because our father sent us to school and told us not to do this, to keep our legs closed and don't come back with babies and this, that, and the other. Okay, but they're managing to do that and walk out with wedding rings. Why aren't you willing to do that? And so the bigger point is, why aren't you telling your daughters to now follow a philosophy, an ideology, a thought process that is seemingly getting benefits and results? I'm confused as to why that's confusing. If you're mad about all other people taking the successful black men, if you're mad about that, look at what they're doing. They're cooking, they're cleaning, they're being nice, they're being feminine, fit, feminine, friendly, beautiful, doing whatever it is that they're doing. I know everybody wants to concentrate on the aesthetics. I don't want to keep talking about that, but I don't think it's the aesthetics. I don't know anybody who says that it's the aesthetics. It's really the attitude in the philosophy, and the attitude in the philosophy that was exhibited on the panel that night exemplified that. No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do your homework because I got to do my own homework. Well, somehow these other girls are figuring out a way to do their homework and allegedly do their man's homework. So if it's working for them, why will it not work for you? Does not make sense. Isn't that just common sense? But a lot of times the ladies are looking at, they got hairs, their butts are bigger than mine. So let me go get a BBL and put this fake stuff on my head and wrap their claws up. No matter how many times, no matter how many ways we say, you're not listening. One of the first videos that I played that night was a woman and her man not listening. The woman was not listening. The whole, I don't even know what the game is called, but the bottles, match up the bottles and stuff. They get one right. Un ciento, or whatever it is. Not asiento. Un ciento. One correct. She changes it. The guy puts it back. Un ciento. It's like he's like hits. No. She wasn't listening. Dos ciento. Ese. Está. Whatever. My Spanish is really, really rusty. No. Tres asiento. Tres cientos. Changes them all. You're not listening. She's not listening. So it's a definition of insanity. You're doing the same thing. If this is the complaint, it was just baffling to me. Just absolutely baffling. So I'm not going to play all that. I'll put the screenshots up. Go back and watch the video. It was a great live and all that. But I just want to put this real quick one out just to say, listen. If somebody else is doing something and they're gaining results, if you're mad about the results, you shouldn't be mad that they're saying that these guys are marrying they're marrying these other girls and this, that, and the other. They don't like us. And you think it's your aesthetic. It's constantly been said. Constantly been said that they don't care about your aesthetic. They'll dark skin, light skin, straight hair, curly hair, 4C hair. It's too bad. Not listening. Not listening. It's really, really too bad that this is a real phenomenon, real dynamic, real something that's really, really going on and that you're mad about. And we tell you what it is, and you keep moving the wrong thing. just like maybe I will play the video just so you can get a context.
Cero acierto. Un acierto. Un acierto.
El verde.
No, el verde estaba aquí, ¿no? Y el naranja estaba aquí. Así.
Cero acierto.
Bien. No lo regreses.
Un
Uno,
acierto.
es el verde que va aquí.
El naranja es el que va aquí. El naranja déjalo ahí.
Cero acierto.
No muevas eso.
Un acierto. Cero acierto.
Bien.
Dos aciertos.
El rosa, el fucsia.
No, usa aquí. A ver, ahí.
Un acierto.
Bien. Estos dos déjalos aquí.
Uno. El verde.
No ve.
Dos aciertos.
No, Ramón, deja el naranja aquí porque el naranja va aquí.
Un acierto.
El naranja. Déjalo aquí, no lo
Naranja.
muevas. Sí, el naranja va aquí. Y el fucsia también, déjalo ahí. Esto no lo muevas, mueves de aquí para allá.
Cero acierto.
Viste que no sale.
Cero acierto.
Bien.
Un
El
acierto.
rojo es el otro que.
El rojo va aquí.
Cero acierto.
Bien. Vamos bien.
Bien.
Sí, porque estoy haciendo un descartamiento. Ujú.
Un acierto.
Un acierto quiere decir que es el fucsia. Ahí.
Cero acierto.
Whatever he does, she undoes it.
Un acierto.
El azul,
El fucsia va aquí. Escucha, un acierto.
Un
El
acierto.
fucsia. No me muevas el fucsia.
Y aquí es el rojo.
No me muevas ni el fucsia ni el naranja. Eso si tú quieres mueve, pero el fucsia y el naranja son aciertos. Pero no, esto no me va.
Watch the
Uy,
end.
esto no me
Watch
lo
the
mueves.
end.
No me lo.
3
Tres.
aciertos.
Este y el
El
rojo.
fucsia, el naranja y el rojo aquí.
0 aciertos.
No se está equivocando. Él a veces se equivoca.
Él.
Sí,
No sé, no es
pero
tú.
tú síguele. No, el jurado, pero tú dale, tú dale. No le pongas cuidado. Tú solo escúchame a mí. Estos dos no lo muevas.
¿Cuáles son?
Estos dos. Desde un principio yo sé que estos son aciertos.
Un acierto.
El rojo va aquí.
Un acierto. Es este el acierto.
She's saying that's correct. It's not correct.
¿Qué dice cero, hombre?
0 aciertos.
No sabe.
She said, I don't know. I don't know.
Vengo yo.
Sí, pero es para que no me muevas esto.
¿Cuál?
Esto no me lo muevas.
Pero ya ves que yo quiero
Sí,
jugar.
pero es que tú me estás dañando la jugada a mí también.
Yo quiero jugar para allá.
No puedes porque esto es un acierto, dijo él, lo dijo hace ratico.
3 aciertos.
¿Viste? Pero ¿por qué le echas?
Porque él no sabe, el jurado no sabe. Así déjamelo.
Un acierto.
It went from 3 to 1.
Yo siempre lo digo. Te vas a caer tú solito. Te vas a caer tú solito. No estás jugando bien.
¿Cómo así?
Vas a perder. No. Te dije aquí el naranja y aquí el fucsia.
Yo creo que vas a
No,
hacer.
ahí no va. Voltéalo. Aquí va el fucsia. No, aquí va el fucsia.
¿Así?
Sí.
5 aciertos.
Just move. You're moving the wrong thing. So, I'm not saying to go to college and cheat. I'm not advocating for that. But I'm advocating for if this is an effective strategy to get something that you want, and you want to be married to a certain group of men, you want to be this, you want to be that, then you got to follow that. You got to follow that strategy. That's all I'm saying. I'm not advocating. Listen, I'm a college professor. I don't want anybody else writing anybody else's paper. I wrote every single one of mine. So, but the other part, you really got to analyze that. What is going on? How do we get these strategies? How do we change this mindset in all this? And this attitude that, well, I'm not going to help you build. I'm not going to do this. Well, we hear you loud and clear. We hear you loud and clear. And when we build it, because those guys in the NBA, those guys who like Dennis Sperling and the lead attorney are highly successful black lawyers, I don't think those two guys in particular deal with black women. And you're not asking, and you think that they're sell out to this, that, and the other, but you're overlooking these guys. I've talked about the mating and dating strategies. You got to change that. And even on the show, I talked about that. You got to change your mating and dating strategies. And I said to one of them, listen, you're exemplifying the exact problem. You are exemplifying right now the exact problem. You're refusing to stand by and stand alongside these men. And that is not a phenomenon that goes on in other communities. It's not. With other communities are doing this, that, and the other. Okay.
I think still we got maybe a little bit off track because we were talking about black men going out and creating wealth in our communities and why we should or should not help them, because I think that's what Big was saying. He was like, why can't we help them? And I'm like, we're always
stand by them. I said stand by them.
Stand by them, yes, but how so?
Well, a perception and the way we perceive them will keep us from standing by them. That's what I was sharing. Because if we don't do our part and not look at them as not look at all black men the same and sit back and say, well, I'm not going to help you. If I have an opportunity to raise a teenager, a young child, take them under my care and raise them, or I see a black man, I have an opportunity to contribute, not from a wife perspective, but just as a woman to undergird them, then there's nothing wrong with that. That will change society. But our perception as to how we see men will keep us from wanting to help them. So if there's something inside of me that is maybe because of trauma, because of past hurt, because of perception, the community, if I hold that over their heads and I can help them to come out from where they are, am I doing the right thing? I don't think so. I would.
So,
I think
so
my
that's essentially what my point was. Is that you know it's the I think there's a I think that you, clever girl, have a really bad negative image of the black man. And I just think, and I'm not going to convince anyone to try to change that. It's your image, and you have every right to have it, and you don't have to change. But if the question is why are these, what, and this is brought up, and I'm saying this again, if the question is as to why these black men grow up in these communities, and then as soon as they get on, get some money, go to college, whatever, they get with a white woman, it's because of the exact attitude that you're displaying. Is that they don't deserve it. I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to stand by you. You got to do it yourself, and then we'll get in line. Well, I'm going to get but the white girls is helping me do homework or doing it for me or whatever. She's investing in me some way, somehow. And that's all that. And if you don't want to do that, and you don't believe that people should do that, then that's fine. You can do whatever you want. And I'm not going to try to convince you. I don't believe in talking anybody into doing anything they don't want to do. But I'm just telling you, if you want something different, and if you want to build something up, because if I'm at work, somebody, if I'm working doubles and I'm trying to set up a business, and I know people who set up businesses and doing stuff, right? And they got kids. Somebody has to take time to be at home with the kids. Somebody has to take time to do whatever. So you want me to build a business? You want me to do this? You want me to do that? You want me to go out here and conquer the world? I hear you. But I'm going to be with somebody. But in the meantime, I'm still going to want to have relations. I'm still going to want to go out on a date. And if you don't want to look at me, you think I'm less than, you think that every other race of people is doing it. And I listen, I agree that we got a lot of work to do in the community. I'm not pushing back against that. But at the same time, if somebody else is helping me, somebody else is taking my clothes to the laundromat, somebody else is helping me do homework, somebody else is putting gas in my car, who do you think I'm going to marry? That's all I'm asking you to consider.
Do you think black women don't do that? Black women are some of the most generous people on the planet.
You're displaying an attitude that says I'm not doing it. You said it numerous times.
What I'm saying is we have done it. We should stop doing it because it gives you.
You should stop doing it. You're right. You should stop doing it. Go ahead and stop doing it. You're absolutely right. I'm not going to fight with you. I'm not going to fight with you. Go ahead and stop doing it.
Okay. I mean, you know, it's really problematic because the wedge, I don't even think that people realize the wedge that has been built into, or the divide that has been built in between African American men and women. We have both been persecuted. And we don't want to hear that, you know, you've been persecuted, we got it rougher. That is not an excuse for poor attitude. It's not. We got it rougher, we got to be masculine, our men were gone, and this, that, and the other, whether they were gone because they ran off or because they were gone because they're incarcerated, because they were gone because whatever, you know, gone is gone. It doesn't really matter. But that is no longer a reason for resting B-face and for negative attitudes and all this kind of stuff, right? So, and quite frankly, it's tiring because, you know, when do you take responsibility for your own actions? When do you take responsibility for your own actions? When do you look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm the problem, I need to change something in this, that, and the other? I don't know when and at what point, you know, this needs to be made more clear. It's really troubling that the sins and the traumas of the past, which are real, continue to have this effect on how we conduct yourself today. And there's no willingness to change. It's one thing you said, listen, we are hurt, we are traumatized, we got this going on, but I'm going to try to do better. That's all we're asking you to do, is just try to do better. Just try to do better. I gotta give a shout out to BGS Igmore, because he covered a show as I recorded this last night on the African American experience, female experience versus the British female, the black female experience. Great show that he did. And what he did, what he showed was the drastic, because of the environment, the environmental psychology that played upon the African American female. You know, she responds and acts in certain ways. Okay, you know, I think we all get that. You know, the African American experience is absolutely truly unique and deserves some grace. Absolutely, 100%. But he showed a comedian who I actually enjoy a lot, Daphne Springs, who capitalizes on that experience. And you know, she's saying Daphne Springs was watching a show, and who is a YouTube comedian, Daphne Springs, was watching a show about some kind of controversial type of thing. You know, what do black male Brits prefer, white females or black females in Britain, Great Britain, England, London, whatever. And so what happened was, you know, this woman, Daphne Springs, was saying that they're not, you know, we're you know, black women are not mean, we're not this, we're not that. You know, we're not this, you know, African American, in particular, African American women are not mean, we're not violent and all this kind of stuff, right? That's what she was saying. And as he's showing it, right, Daphne Springs is a comedian who emphasizes that type of comedy. She's a crazy girlfriend with a gun in her hand, putting it to her man's head, and she's a comedian. She does these skits for jokes, for laughs, for giggles. So she's playing on the trope. She's playing on the very trope about being violent. And then when somebody else talks about we don't like dating them, she's like, well, we're not this way. But you're playing off of that trope. And media, all media, social and traditional media, color how in particular other groups see us. That's why it matters that when our pictures are constantly in the newspaper for being arrested, which has been proven and documented that it is skewed in a certain way. So this is why there was so much pushback on the traditional news media. Listen, I remember growing up in the 70s and 80s, right? They would say a black man was arrested for this, that, and the other. And the black man was 17, 18 years old, right? I remember watching these stories, right? But then a young man of 28, young white man of 28 was in a car accident. And wait a minute, he's a young man of 28, but this is a grown man of 18 and being arrested. Right, so this was an internalization process, that is psychological processes that were going on. So I'm saying all that to say that if you don't like these tropes about you, number one, stop making them, stop celebrating them as Daphne Springs does. And like the N-word, that's why I don't like, you know, the rap music stuff, right? All these negative stuff. That's why we talk about this. All this negative stuff is only hurting our image. It only hurts our image, and then people don't want to date us, male and female. They don't want us in their company. They don't want us in their. They're worried about us when we get on the job. They're worried about us when we get to the college. They're worried about us when we come to the family picnic. Because of these images that we keep. That number one, we're putting out today. I talked about the time when I was growing up, and these other people were putting it out. Now we're doing it ourselves. Daphne Springs is making these videos. She's making these videos. So listen. The definition of insanity. You have to change the things that you were doing. If you have to change, if you're getting the same results that you've always gotten, you have to change. You have to change these things. And there doesn't seem to be a wholehearted, concerted effort to change these things. So listen, if you want a different result, listen. I absolutely 100% and wholeheartedly agree. I wholeheartedly agree that that there's a lot of the work that has to be done. But that work, man, that work is going to take time. It's going to take real self-reflection and work. And if you're seeing other people getting results, and one of the biggest things that I tried to press on them is that these other people have a different mating and dating strategy. They have a different mating and dating strategy. They have a different mating and dating strategy, and you keep pushing back on that. Nobody's saying that you have to have an ugly man, but the first and most primary concern that we should have is the economic viability of a mate. And we don't have that. We have an atavistic, basic, rudimentary selection process. As long as he's tall, he's got saggy pants, he wears a hat backwards and a t-shirt, then that seems to be the only parameter, not only, but a major parameter for some ladies to choose and select these men by. And forget about his financial impact, forget about his financial embrace, forget about his whatever. Forget about all that. And it's sad because that is the definitive marker of what the community is going to look like, not how tall and or swagalicious he is, but how his strategies about and prospects for the future are. So I just want to do a recap. I'm not gonna belabor the time here, but I just want to do a recap of that because if you want different outcomes, then you have to put in different efforts. And that's what I really wanted to say. Just like the woman who in the video kept saying, this is the right one, and it clearly wasn't. Understand that the mating strategies that you have and the selection processes and what you're doing and what you're telling your children when they go to college and this, that, and the other is not working. It's not. So let me know your thoughts and your opinions. If you enjoyed this show, consider subscribing, hit the like button. And if you want to buy me a sandwich or something along those lines, I would certainly appreciate it. The Cash App and all that is in the descriptions. Much love and peace.